Hello. Hello. Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Now, we have a bit of a change to the show this week in the respect that I'm riding solo. So Monique is not going to be joining us this week because she is busy. So she's busy just, wow, just doing Monique stuff and being, in fact, I'll tell you, she's at the 10X conference. So Monique is a 10X business coach. She 10X people's businesses and she 10X people's lives. And yeah, she's at what's called the Growth Conference, which is where she gets together in a stadium with a bunch of pumped up American people, all 10x each other's lives and just bouncing off the walls. Yeah, so she won't be joining us this week. So I thought it appropriate, really, just this week to then talk about, what Monique's up to. And digging deeper into that, looking into inspiration and what we can find inspiring in our lives. Because I'm going to play you a video in a couple of minutes that Monique sent through. So she's going to be kind of joining us via video. It's not live like I am, but she sent me a video just to share with you, to give you a little window into what she's actually up to at the moment. Now, let's see if I can actually work that properly. I was looking at how to get sound on before, but I'll play the video, and even if you can't hear any sound, you'll be able to see her. I mean, you'll be able to see what's going on because yeah, she's in the middle of a bit of craziness. And when we talk about inspiration and things that make us inspired, it's important, I think, to differentiate, to tell the difference between motivation and inspiration. So actually, Monique, at the event that she's going to this week, I'm sure she was very motivated to get there, and she was very inspired as well, and she's going to get motivation and inspiration throughout. But what is it? What's the difference between those two? Sometimes we can talk about them, the two words, we can use them and you kind of imagine they mean the same thing, but they are very, very different. And I'll just explain to you now in a nutshell what what I think is the difference really between motivation and inspiration. So let's start with motivation. So motivation, really, we talk about motivation as being more kind of an external thing. It's really, for example, when we have a carrot on a stick, when we get a reward for doing something, it motivates us to do something. When we have, a deadline, when you need to get some homework in for school, it's going to motivate you because you're going to get into trouble if you don't hand your homework in on time. That is motivation. It's looking at something outside of you. It's kind of like a bit of a pressure, like an urgency, to get something done. And the thing is that when we set goals for ourselves, motivation can come and go. For example, not recently, I talk about it recently, but within the last year, I've never really gone to the gym ever in my entire life. Just a few bits now and again, just because, hey, a friend was going and I wanted to accompany them. But I started going to the gym, and when you start going to the gym and you rely on motivation, I don't think you will last very long, because you go along to the gym, you work out the first time, and you're going to be sore. And that's that motivation that you had to get out of bed that morning. It might have been, raining on the first day and you got out of bed and it was new and it was exciting and you were going along. Well, the second day when you wake up and it's still raining outside and your body's aching, that motivation can just evaporate. It can just disappear and you can just roll over and go back to sleep and say, oh, well, I'll go tomorrow. So that's more like motivation, and it's usually set on an external thing. So, for example, if I was going to the gym, my motivation might be, because I want to get big muscles, something to set my goals on. But now let's look at inspiration. Now, inspiration is not usually focused on something outside of us. It's focused on our inside world. It focuses on our sense of purpose, our kind of the kind of person that we want to be and the kind of values which we have. I'll give you an example. So let's switch it over now to you. Now let's say, if your parents told you to clean your room, it's a mess. Get in there, get it cleaned. And they tell you, well, if you go up and clean your room, well, you could have some ice cream afterwards. Whoa, okay, so that's a motivation. It's an external thing that's outside of you that's driving you to get that done. So you might want to go up and, clean your room so you can get some ice cream after. Now, what about inspiration? Well, being inspired usually is something that's self-driven. It's something that comes from you. So it might be, for example, when you are thinking about cleaning your room, that, it's a bit of a mess, and actually you would like to just have a nicer space to be in, a nicer space to be able to just kind of, relax on your beanbag and read your book without all this, mess and kind of noise around you. You might want to, you might feel inspired to, clean your room, so that you can kind of feel a bit more peaceful, like feel a bit more, like when you come home from school, that there's somewhere nice to go, not just, the mess that it usually is. So that would be the difference between a motivation and an inspiration. And let's give another example. So in your studying, when we talk about, studies, a motivation, like we talked about right at the beginning, would be a deadline. Okay, you got to get your maths homework in by Wednesday. Wednesday morning, I want it on my desk, says the teacher, and that's your motivation to get it done, because you're going to get in trouble if you don't get your homework in. Okay, but let's look at schoolwork maybe another way, in that how are you inspired with who you actually want to be or what you actually want to do? Maybe you have a vision of, making a difference in the world, of doing something, of, I don't know, looking after animals, maybe being a vet, that you want a particular job or a particular way that you want to help out in society. You might want to, get involved in stuff to do with the environment, because it just, it means something to you. And so when you go into school, and you rely on the motivation, it can come and go, but when you actually kind of step back and rely on your inspiration, then it's kind of an internal driver that you could fall back on, that reminds you about why you are doing things. So that's a little intro about the difference between motivation and inspiration. And so now I will just try and play a video which Monique sent to us. It's going to be cool. And here we go. Okay, so that was the message from Monique. Now, what I'll do is I will actually post that video on the Inspiration Station. If you look, it might be underneath or above the video, you'll find a link to the Inspiration Station, and I'll actually post the video on there because I'm not convinced that you actually got any sound there. But that might have just been a long 30 seconds of silence and Monique's mouth blabbing around. But what she was saying was that she's at this exciting conference and she's very inspired. She's heard some very inspirational people talking, that have inspired things inside of her about what she wants to do. And yeah, she's just sending loads of love as per usual. So, talking about the difference again between inspiration and motivation and what it actually means in your life. Now, again, I'll remind you, that motivation really we can see as more kind of like a pushing. Like motivation is more kind of like a force that's pushing us to do something. And inspiration is more kind of like a pull. It's a pull like a gravitational pull. Like gravity, keeps us on the ground. If I jump up or fall back down, why? Because gravity's pulling me. But the thing is, it's invisible. We can't see it. We can maybe picture it in our mind or try and picture it in our mind, but we can't actually see it physically. But it's pulling us towards a certain thing. Now, a game that we can play or a framework which we can actually use to kind of look at our lives and start thinking about what excites us, because really at the end of the day, that's the things that inspire us are those that are passions, are the things that inspire us and excite us. And what we can do is we can actually use what we call the why ladder. Now, I'll give you an example of how the why ladder might work. For example, if you were playing some sports, let's use a football analogy. It's an easy one. So if you were playing football and you wanted to do well in the match, well then you would go, you would use the why ladder to, get through that motivation and find out where your inspiration is, or where it might not be. Because guys, sometimes we might be doing things that actually don't really kind of, fit in with what, we're not feeling them. we're doing something because somebody else wants us to do it. Some external motivation, like we feel like our parent or our teacher or whoever is expecting us to do this thing because, and that's kind of our motivation. But really we're kind of like not feeling it. But in this example, let's use football and say we're kind of like feeling it, but we're not too sure what's going on, and we just want to dig down and get to that deeper level of that's really gonna keep us going. That's going to be the pull that keeps us driving forward. That power. So it's the force is the motivation, but the power and the pull will be the inspiration. So if we were looking at playing football one day and, what do you want to do in football? Well, you want to play well, you want to score a goal. Okay, well, why do you want to score a goal? Okay, well, I want to score a goal because it's going to make me feel good. It's going to impress my folks. It's going to impress my team. It's going to impress that girl who's on the sideline or boy. Or it's going to impress our coach. Okay, so why really do you want to be, scoring that goal? Okay, well, I really want it for my team because, I'd really get on with these guys. We come down, some of them I don't get along with so well, but, the majority of the guys here, we're just like, we're good buddies and we love hanging out together and playing football, and I really want it for my team because when I win, when I score a goal, we all win. Okay, good. So why do you want to score that goal? And we keep digging deeper, and we might now think, well, actually, really, the reason would be because I actually really want to turn pro. I've got a deep drive, and I can see myself playing professional football or doing well in the team and getting up to county level or even getting on my school team or whatever level we might be looking at. In being able to make that improvement and move on, what I'm going to be able to do is I'm going to be able to inspire other people to do the same. I'm going to be able to inspire other people to take up sports. This is a really strong one, and actually you can see this happen a lot always around the Olympics. Around, I'm talking about big events now, probably around the Super Bowl in the States. You definitely see it, around Wimbledon, the famous, tennis tournament that goes on in England. And around that time, when the great players come together, these guys what they do is, not only do they play fantastic tennis and entertain us, so we can go down and watch them and, sit on our couch maybe and eat a hot dog and, watch the Super Bowl or whatever you do there. But a lot of times they also inspire a lot of people to actually start taking up that sport. So yeah, that's just a little framework, a little idea for you. And this week, I think what we're going to do on the Inspiration Station, like I said, I'm going to be posting the video from Monique, so you can see that and perhaps hear some sound where maybe there wasn't before. But also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a challenge this week where you can maybe use the why ladder, and you can actually start digging down into where your motivation and inspiration is and what things are actually exciting you and inspiring you. What's lighting you up on the inside, and maybe that inspiration that you feel for doing something will actually motivate you to go and, speak to your parent and maybe sign up to that karate class, or, start that sport, or, do whatever inspires you. So that's your challenge this week, will be just to really think about what excites and inspires us, what excites and inspires you. And to do that, if you want to dig deeper, like we were doing before, you can use the why ladder. And actually, it's just a crazy thing which we all used to do when we were babies. When we were younger, we used to drive our parents crazy asking why. They'd be asking, we're just going to go around and visit Auntie Susan. You go, why? Well, because it's her birthday. Why? She has that thing every year. It's called a birthday. It's when she was born. We kind of go around and we celebrate it. Why? Oh, well, we celebrate. So that's what we used to do. But we can do that for ourselves. And in asking ourselves that question, using the why ladder, we can actually get down into deeper understandings of what inspires us and what excites us and what motivates us. Or not. So that's your challenge this week. I'll post those 2 videos on the Inspiration Station. And what I thought was going to be quite a short show this week with no Monique has turned into a usual length escapade. And next week we'll be back to usual. Monique will be joining us live again, I'm sure, with some amazing stories of what she's been up to. And in the meantime, just remember that I believe in you guys. I believe in you. But the thing is that it doesn't make any difference how much I believe in you. You got to believe in yourselves. Okay? You got to believe in yourselves, and you got to understand that you are bold, you are brave, and you are unstoppable, guys. Okay?